Independent RX Forum is sponsored by Wellgistics Health. Welcome to Independent RX Forum with the National Community Pharmacists Association, America's leading advocate and business education provider for independent community pharmacists. Independent RX Forum is powered by RX Connection.
Hello and welcome to Independent RX Forum. I'm your host, John Beckner, and I'm joined today by my co-host and good friend, Ed Cohen.
Well, John, thank you again for having me here today, and I'm looking forward to another robust conversation about the future of pharmacy practice.
Yeah, we're in day 2 of our live streaming at the NCPA annual meeting in Columbus, Ohio. It's the first time we've done this. Really excited to be coming to you in this manner, and looking forward to talking to our next guest, who is Liza Chapman. Liza is Chief Professional Officer at PTCB. Liza, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me, John and Ed. It's great to see both of you. Really
good to see you as well. So if we could just start out, I want to talk about PTCB in general. Maybe you could share the history of PTCB and your role at that organization.
Certainly. So PTCB, the Pharmacy Technician Certification Board, was founded in 1995. So next year we will be celebrating our 30th birthday.
Wow.
We are the first and premier credentialing organization for pharmacy technicians in the United States. We have had over 800,000 technicians take one of our exams over the last 29 years. And we recently achieved having over 300,000 nationally certified technicians through our program. So very excited that we have reached this milestone. This is the greatest number of technicians that we've had certified at any given time. If you look at basic statistics from the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, there's about 460,000 technicians that identify working in pharmacy in the U.S. currently. And we have about 65% of them certified through PTCB. So we're very, very proud of that accomplishment and what our technicians are doing out in the profession and advancing patient care.
And we'll talk about the expanding role of the technician, which is really taken off, post-COVID because of, all the authorizations that took place with the PrEP Act and things like that.
Yes. It's an exciting time to be a pharmacy technician.
It is. So I want to talk a little bit about the new, I guess it's not new anymore, but the partnership between NCPA and PTCB.
Yes. So he did ask me in our first question, and I failed to answer that, a little bit about who I am and what I do at PTCB. So in my role as Chief Professional Officer, I work with our professional affairs team. So we manage the relationships that PTCB has with employers, educators, various stakeholders, including regulators, state and national pharmacy associations. But I also have the privilege of working with our founding organizations. PTCB is a nonprofit. We are fortunate to have NCPA as one of our founding organizations. That all occurred in 2022. So we have ownership of our organization by 4 national associations, NCPA being one of them, and 2 state pharmacy associations. So with NCPA coming to our Board of Governors, and Doug Hoy sits on our board,
right.
It's really opened up the relationship that PTCB has with independent community pharmacies. We now have a seat at the table when we're having conversations with community owners, community technicians, staff members, to advance patient care through the certification of technicians through our programs. So it's been a great opportunity. We collaborate with marketing efforts, regulatory efforts. We communicate with the state and national affairs teams periodically when there's pending legislation in the state. So it's really causing us to have greater presence within the community pharmacy space, and hopefully it's been a beneficial opportunity for NCPA as well.
Well, it has, and I think the fact that we have partnered with PTCB really speaks to the importance that we attach to the role of the technician in the changing practice of community pharmacy. It's very important with what's going on today.
Absolutely, John. And not to say that, we work, a lot of the work we do, we have a small staff at PTCB, so we highly rely on volunteers. And we have gained some great volunteer relationships through our NCPA partnerships, serving on our certification council, serving on our exam development committees. So again, having the conversation, the relationship with one another has been truly beneficial.
Very good. So maybe you can go into some detail about your various credentialing programs and things like that.
Well, our bread and butter is the national certification
Sure.
exam. When we were talking about that 300,000 number, that is what technicians for the national certification exam have earned. That exam is recognized in all 50 states and territories in the U.S. So many boards have found that that's important because some states do require certification in order for a technician to be registered or licensed. In addition to that, many employers see the value in credentialing because it's creating career progressions, opportunities for technicians to work in advancing roles. So having that national certification truly is entry level, and it establishes a knowledge for technicians because we know our first and foremost priority is patient safety. And we know those technicians have been appropriately trained and have the knowledge and education to do their jobs appropriately.
So for the training that they have to go through, can you talk to that a bit? How long does it take? What are the process? What is it that they're learning?
Well, that is kind of the wild, wild west because some states have various requirements. Some employers have even more stringent requirements, and then there are some states that have no regulations whatsoever. So in order for a technician to be eligible for our exam, they can either go through one of two pathways. One pathway would be work experience, having at least 500 hours of practice, whether it be in community, compounding long-term care, just giving them exposure to workflow, learning medications, pharmacology, laws, regulatory requirements. So there is that pathway, the work experience one, and then the other one is education and training. And if a technician goes through that pathway, they must complete a recognized program through PTCB. We have over 1,700 programs that are on that list. And again, it is all across the board. Some may be, 100 hours. Some may be accredited. Like, for example, there are a few states require ASHP, ACPE accredited education. That's at least 400 hours of training and then with some experiential learning. So again, PTCB does not have an hour requirement, but we do require that the program director attests that they are reading all of the knowledge requirements in order to prepare that technician to sit for the exam.
So did you see an increase in the interest in technicians becoming PTCB certified after COVID?
So we saw a lot of things happen during the pandemic and after COVID. We have unfortunately seen a lot of technicians that have left the workforce. As we know that there have been other pharmacy personnel, pharmacists, student pharmacists that have made pivots and changed career pathways. But yes, we have seen an increase, particularly for states that now have adopted the PrEP Act as permanent with point-of-care testing and immunization delivery. We are seeing technicians that are, wanting to take that opportunity to become certified. Because if you are certified through PTCB, that opens up the door for you to earn some of our advanced credentials. And so we launched the CPHT Advanced Credential in 2019. We have about 2,000 technicians that have worked towards that advanced opportunity, and many of them have done so through various work experience pathways and education and training opportunities that they've received.
So what's the focus of the advanced training?
That'll be my question too.
So the way the advanced training works, we have 11 assessment-based certificate programs. So a pharmacy technician has to earn 4 of those in order to be eligible for the CPHT Advanced Credential. So if you've got a pharmacy technician that works for a compounding pharmacy, they may have earned our certified compounded sterile preparation technician credential. They may have earned our non-sterile assessment-based certificate program, billing and reimbursement, or hazardous drug management. And they can pick and choose based on their knowledge areas, their areas of interest from those 11 certificates. Many technicians in community practice, have earned the immunization certificate, billing and reimbursement, medication history, and even medication therapy management. So if anyone has any interest, I really encourage you to go to our website because all of the credential catalog is listed there.
Yeah, with all the emphasis and focus today on medical billing and things like that, I would imagine that that's a pretty popular advanced certification.
And so in that one in particular, it also has a pathway eligibility requirement. One either can be work experience, and the other is completing a recognized education and training program, a continuing education program. But we found that, there are many community pharmacy technicians that have that work experience because they are the subject matter expert in their practice. I know when I was practicing pharmacy, you didn't want me handling any billing claims. You wanted my lead pharmacy technician taking care of all that for you.
So, for a while, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think there may have been a stigma attached to the PT technician certification. It was really, and the exam was really for hospital technicians as opposed to community.
We have, John. Thank you for bringing up that point. We have been known for a really, really long time as the hospital exam. I will go on and say that there is a competitor, a PTCB, and traditionally they have been known more focused on the community test. But back a number of years ago, about 8 years ago, PTCB, and we do this every so often. We just completed one. It's called our job task analysis, where we survey pharmacy technicians, either certified or non-certified, just to find out the pulse of what is going on in practice. Like, how are they spending their time, how they're involved in direct patient care or even administrative tasks. And so we do that survey, again, every 8 years or so. And back in the mid-2010s, so it would have been about 2016, we did that analysis. And we found that, a lot of technicians are not being involved in sterile compounding. They may not be involved in billing and reimbursement. That's very specific to the practice setting. So at that time, we changed our exam. So in 2020, we became more practice neutral. And that's why you see the development of that sterile compounding certification that we created, and also the billing and reimbursement certificate, because again, that is very specific to the practice site. So our exam represents all of pharmacy. So if anyone out there thinks that we are still the hospital test, I will tell you we are not.
You articulated that very well.
Yes.
With the you've done a great job advancing the role of the technician, your programs, the education that you offer, the certification, it's be recognized in all 50 states. You're trying to tame the wild, wild west.
Yes.
And congratulations for all of that.
Well, thank you.
With the big movement today of technicians advancing even further, going into management positions, responsible for different segments of the pharmacy practice, do your certification, the certificate, the list of 11 specializations, do they cover some of that? And do you have programs to help them to advance to manager roles?
So that we often hear that, all the time. What are some opportunities to get technicians prepared for leadership roles? And yes, I would say, Ed, that there are compositions of those certificate programs that do cover some of the more basic requirements. Like if you have a pharmacy technician that wants to work closely in compliance of controlled substances, like what are the day-to-day activities that technicians should be involved in or trained in to provide those skills. But again, a lot of it is on-the-job training. Having that pharmacy staff, whether it be a senior technician that's been working in some of those more advanced roles for a number of years, or the pharmacy owner, a pharmacy manager, staff pharmacist, to have the opportunity to mentor technicians, to be able to take on some of those additional responsibilities. we're finding a lot of technicians that are, wanting to advance themselves, and they may take on leadership roles, like completing different leadership opportunities, like with different continuing education programs. But just learning more about a specific area and going to their owner saying, hey, I know about MedSync. We need to have a MedSync program in our pharmacy. And many of those owners are giving those technicians the opportunity to have the ownership and elevating them and giving that career progression, a career pathway for them to advance.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things in the technician space is retention, and job satisfaction plays a huge role in that. Liza, I don't know whether you had a chance. We had a really good business education session a couple of days ago that focused on the ROI of support personnel. I don't know whether you had a chance to be there or not, but Jake Galdo and Meredith Ayers from Bremo in Richmond spoke about that. And I thought it was a really, really good session, and it really supported, having highly trained technicians on board as part of the staff.
Well, and I was not able to get to their presentation, but I will say I had been privy to some of the data that Jake has found through his research. PTCB helped. He helped work on that with us. We collaborated together. Meredith is one of our volunteers, and she has earned our CPHT advanced credential, and she presented some of that information at a previous industry conference. And it just shows that the investment in your technician helps with the whole retention process. Once we get technicians in the door and we get them trained, the challenge then is to retain them. And we have found that technicians, through a survey that we conducted back in 2022, that technicians that are certified do stay with their employers longer. So it's simple as that. And when we have employers and pharmacy owners that are supportive of their technicians in their advancement, again, it just builds that loyalty. And, if we can be creative and come up with various opportunities for them to grow in their practice, that's just a win-win for everybody, not only for the business to help generate, additional funds, but it's good for the patient.
Absolutely. And when you look at healthcare today and the evolving practice of pharmacy can't evolve without expanding the role of the technician. I think that's critical. And I think the programs that PTCB is offering, whether they're credentialing or advanced credentialing programs, I think it's very important to be able to do that.
You give them the true foundation. So the next step for your company, for training technicians, if I had a crystal ball to look 5 years out, is there new programs? Not asking for the secret sauce, just is there a direction that you're looking to take next for technicians?
Well, yeah, Ed, we're always constantly looking at how the profession is evolving. And, I think how PTCB has been successful is that we've been in stride step by step with where the profession is going. I'm not sure that we will create any additional assessment-based certificate programs. Our test development team worked tirelessly for the past 5 years to produce those 11. I'd like to think that we would create more, and the profession kind of helps guide that.
Right.
So as the profession is growing, different opportunities are growing, I think PTCB will certainly be part of that. One area in particular interest of us on staff and even of our volunteers and stakeholders that we work with is community health workers.
Yes.
I know that there's been a lot of discussion about that here and excitement about community health workers at this year's convention. And I would like to think that there might be a certificate or a exam to validate the community health worker in the future. I can't say that with 100% certainty, but it's certainly something that I think that we notice. And again, the profession showing interest and the demand that community health workers certainly something that we're watching.
Well, when that happens, we'll have you back on for another podcast.
Well, I hope so. It's not that far away. Again, I don't know exactly what the future would hold, but certainly something for us to consider as an organization.
Well, thank you so much for being on with us today. We really enjoyed it.
Great job that you're doing, the company yourself. Congratulations.
And we appreciate the partnership.